Yeah, Launchpad configuration. We have deployed our application, the latest application onto the Launchpad, and we have registered that tile as well onto the Launchpad. Let me open this one. So trip planner, this is the transactional tile which we have registered yesterday here. And now we are going to use some navigations from the tile. So how they really navigate from one another application. Okay, so likewise, we are going to create some more actions using our same the BOPF actions that we have seen on our business object. So here we have, there is one going to the node, the root node of this one, going to the action, and approve. Approve is the action that we have created yesterday, and want to create another action. Settle the trip, and we can have this class created. And this one, if you see multi-node instance, again, I'm switching to single node instance because we want this to be user to be selecting the what is that? The row trip, and then need to press the settle trip. So in this case, again, we need a single instance. Let me finish this one. And okay, and again, I'm going to create another action, which is this one is going to be the static action. So to display app. So the description is going to be display app. So using this one, we are going to see the display app and finish. That's perfect. All done. And let me activate this one. By this, we will be having these classes created at the runtime right now. And now what I'm going to do, let me go to the metadata extension of this one. So this is header, yeah, EV header. And here we tried creating this for action at the moment yesterday, and we separate between this line item first object, and the actions are going to be the next object. Let me create this one type for action. And this is going to be the data action approve. Okay, yeah, so this is going to be approve, and here itself we will mention that requires context. So in this case we say yes, the context requires context. We need the context selection. So whenever user selects the table, and for this one, if we want to give any specific label, and then we can add the label label property here, label going to as a blue trip, and this is going to be my label on the app. Let me activate this one. Okay, I think this is activated. And let me see if I am able to get it directly onto my Launchpad, or whether I want to use the web ID for regeneration. So yes, I think I'm not able to see this action here. Let me go into the web ID and see if I'm able to check transactional application. Let me look at this one. Okay. The backend. So if you see here, we see the approve trip button right now, and it is disabled for us. And if I select any of these entries, then this approve trip getting enabled on this. Okay. So if we want to make any of these, for example, the trip ID as a hyperlink, and if we click on this one, if we want to navigate to another application. So we are working on multiple types of navigation or actions at the moment. Don't get confused. And these actions that we are created using BOPF actions. And if we want, as we have specified, the 3 actions at the moment, and these 3 actions, two actions are going to be requires context, single node instance actions, and this display app is going to be the another static action. Let us create them first. Data extension, and again it's going to be the same. Let's copy this one and paste it, and also paste one more time. And this one is going to be settle, is going to be the action for this one. And the label I'm going to do as settle trip. And for this one also we need the context. So the user must need to choose at least one row list. And for this one, as we are going to use this one again. So if when we choose this one, this static action, whenever we don't want user to choose any of the dependent entry, but by default, if we want that action to be available here, then we choose static action on this particular one. So the static action, let's say I want to navigate to the other application from here. So in this case, what I do are intent-based navigation. So this is the keyword we are going to choose for this one. And if we use this intent-based navigation, in this case, we definitely, okay. let me make it clear. We'll create this for action, and this is going to be the the action, the static action. Display app is the name, or let me rename this. Static action. Let me activate this one. Yeah, while it is getting activated, yes, that is activated, and static action, and I'll say static action. And in this one, we definitely don't need this requires context, because we are not making any dependency there. And we have another kind of action that is, this is not going to be action. We will not be calling as action. Instead, this is going to be the navigation or intent-based navigation. And even in this case, we can have this application. Go to display app, or go to planner, I would say. And in this case, there will be no data action, but instead we will be having a semantic object action. And this is what we will be using for all intent-based navigations. And let me go into Launchpad, and let's go home, Tara Trip App Planner, and we are going to use this application. And from this application, inside this application, we are going to navigate to this particular application. That's what we are going to do at the moment. To do that, how we are going to get our semantic object and action. If you click on this one at the top, you will see the semantic object. Okay, and Tara Trip Planner is going to be the semantic object, and the main is going to be semantic object action. And this is if you have any specific application, if you are wanting to do such tasks, so then this is the easiest way to get your semantic object and action. And if you are more familiar using the Launchpad Designer, then you can go ahead and get this in the Launchpad Designer as well. So if you want to get it from the Launchpad Designer, obviously you must need to know the catalog and further information. And some information you can get from about. So once you open your application, and if you open about here, and you will be getting the technical component name here, which is a PSP application. And apart from that, I don't think we get any helpful information on this one. But there are some content management tools available. Okay, so this is my application. I want to know what is the catalog that is in, and I want to, or if you have catalog and you all the application, or if you have the name and you want to know all the registered of using Launchpad and etc. We have some additional tools which are available on GUI itself. The content manager, we will see that content manager. But apart from that, this is the easiest way to get your semantic object and semantic action. So in this case, I'm going to use my semantic object to perform the navigation. and the semantic object action is going to be maintained, but the semantic object has to be outside the UI annotation. So inside the UI annotation, we will give the semantic object action, but outside this UI, the consumption semantic object, if you see, so in this semantic object, the oh, we'll just give the semantic object in this particular one. Okay, so trip ID, this one, don't think we are giving this for trip ID column, but if you see the for intent-based navigation, for action, everything, these things has to be at the first element if we want to apply these buttons or action onto the toolbar. They all have to be on the first element of the extension what we are building. So that doesn't mean that, okay, so as we understand all these annotations up to here has given only applicable for trip ID, but in this case, not applicable for trip ID, but they are going to apply on the table toolbar. And also there are few other annotations, whatever related to chart annotation, etc. So they all will be developed in the same manner. Get confused if you come across them or something else in future developments. So let me activate this one. Okay, activate. So now this semantic object and semantic action, these are specifically used for intent-based navigation. Wherever you see semantic object and semantic action, even if you are doing a freestyle UI5 application development, then also we will be using semantic object and action for cross-app navigation. So there we will be getting instance of the cross-app navigation framework, and we will be using this semantic object and semantic action to navigate to that particular application. And if you think, if you clearly think about it, and this is specifically dealing with the same launchpad. So we are not dealing with any different launchpads here. It's going to be a same launchpad. So both apps must be exist on the same launchpad. So if we give something not exist in the launchpad, navigation is not going to happen. So let me refresh this. Let's see our actions reflected on our toolbar here. So if you see approve trip and there's static action and settle trip, and I don't see the other other action here. So that might be because of app is not deployed, has not been deployed onto the launchpad yet. So let me go ahead and deploy this one. Okay. Backend system, and as this app already exists in the backend, it by default it's going to pick up the update an existing application. Come on. So whenever we use for action, then it's going to be the BOPF action. And whenever we use for intent based, for, or there is another one with intent based action, and they all having word with intent based, then obviously the semantic object and the semantic action should come into our mind. Okay, let me refresh the launchpad. The app has been deployed onto on-premise system. Let me cut our group. So this is the trip planner transactional. Let me see if I'm able to see the changes that we did. Sure, taking big time these days. Come on. Yeah, it's taking time. So if you see here, we have the go-to planner, static action, and all other buttons that we have configured in our CDSU metadata extensions. They all have been activated right now. So, and also if you see hyperlink not activated for trip ID here. If we click on this static action, nothing is going to happen because we have not implemented the action that we see in our business subject. We're going to action, and is that one gone? I go to actions and static action, and if you look into this class, we have not implemented anything. This execute action, execute so in this one, if you see the execute action, and in the execute action again we have IO we have modify, and so we know how we use IO modify and size to make our achieve our business functionalities. So as we have not implemented anything on this particular execute method, that is the reason we are getting a message in this particular action. And same thing is going to happen even for rest of the buttons. Settle trip and approve trip, even there is no implementation, nothing is going to happen for this one. And if I click on this go to planner, if you see the trip planner, the new app has been launched, and whatever the matching parameters, if you see here from country to country, trip ID, everything, all the parameters that we have selected there, they all have been populated automatically, right? So straight away we can apply. So there is nothing matching at the moment for this one trip ID, but we okay. So In this case, so we have many things matching. So if the parameters are matching the target application, then automatically those parameters will be mapped onto this one. So that is the basic principle as well. So if we are trying to match any of the parameters onto the target application, the parameter names must match this one. Otherwise, we have another another approach where we configure the parameters. The parameters are going to come in the launchpad customization. While so I think I mentioned this when we were configuring the tile. We had a section, separate section for parameters. So those parameters will play a role in the kind of navigation. So there we configure if the parameters are different, then we will be configuring the parameters, the right parameters. What is the source parameter name in the source application, and what is the parameter name that has to map in the target application. And also, same thing is going to happen when you click on this chip ID. So same has been happening here as well. Okay, right? So now, okay, so in this case, if you see, there are two actions, two buttons. One is URL and another one is using the button of the table toolbar. But if we want to enable from country as a URL, okay, so if user clicks on this particular button, and same thing we can achieve on the object page as well. See on the object page, we are using this trip ID header entity. Hyperlink has been automatically enabled this one, right? So this is quite real-time requirements. Whenever we wanted to make then obviously to take and looking at prospect on this income card. One the card and it's all things that we create this they are having the but have a free extensions you and we just right off the phone, not be having this data on have a on there it's still looking. So in this one, I thought of let me show you the parameter where we configure. And if you look at these target mappings, so whatever, this is the transactional app or trip planner. This is our target application. Okay, click on this and we will be going to this trip planner on the so if you look at this target configuration, target mapping configuration, go to configure button. There is the parameters configuration. application. I haven't seen this parameter, but if you see parameter, then as we have mentioned, the action is for intent-based navigation, then those parameters will be automatically transferred. Okay, the parameter name, whatever it is going to be, and the target name, target parameter. So the parameter name that be, let's say, trip ID, and if you want to say in our case, actually trip ID is mapping to trip ID. Both are same. So we are using the parameters or database tables same in our case. But if we want to mention any parameter mapping here, so for example, if we want to map this parameter to the different trip identifier or something like that, so we can map this one. But this trip identifier is going to be the target name, target application parameter here. And if we want to make it mandatory, also make it. Some of the situations we are if you are building an Wi-Fi application or based on serious parameters, that is where these parameters. So if you are building a Wi-Fi application from serious parameters, whereas whenever you click on this trip ID number, then you want to navigate to the another application where it has only the object page and the details of that particular trip and trip items, then we will be having trip ID as an input parameter on this view itself. So based on that, the parameter, if you give the name your target application current name, then we need to come here and do the mapping. And if the fields are same, if it is an intent-based navigation, and those fields are automatically populated onto the target application. Okay, so in this case, we are not going to use any parameters in our case. So I'm just saying cancel. And in another case that I was telling, okay, so if we go to the application and if you see, okay, so if we want to link the URL onto any of the other fields, whereas we don't want to have the button on our toolbar, then yes, we can do that. A small wording difference. That's it. I'm going to copy this one as it is, and I'm going to from country. There is this one line item, and in the line item itself, I'm going to paste this one, and instead of for, it'll be with intent-based navigation. So with intent-based navigation, and also we need to have let me change this application, change this name. We don't want any label for this one because we are leaving the label as it is, country whatever it has, and with intent-based navigation and semantic object action. And here again, we need to specify the consumption dot semantic object for this certificate again. So if we are navigating to the same application or whatever the different application, we go to Launchpad and pick up some other application. Rather, having the same application that we can have two applications. Working application from here. There is nothing, I think, but let me go to my home. Okay, let me pick this one, for example, the custom reusable elements. This is going to be my semantic object. I'll do this semantic object, and the action is going to be developed. The semantic action is going to be developed. So let me activate this one. Okay. It activated. Yeah, activated. And let me refresh this one. Go to the applications, trip planner, transactional. Nope, it's not loading. Go here and relaunch the application. Come on. So anyway, we know that. So yeah. So from country, if you see here, we have the URL enabled on the from country here as an additional navigation from here. Navigation to the application not supported because we are not running this on the launchpad. If we have from country, no, not added here. Let me redeploy this one. Deploy to the BAP repository. Take this one. Okay. So those parameters that we are discussing with intent based or these ones, they are pretty much with URL. With URL is also one of the options that we have in our CDS. So those options effectively whenever we work on analytics point of view as well. So there will be some key figures displayed and but underlying the key dimensions as well. So sometimes if we want to navigate to any external sites for and etc. So those cases yes use must be having information, further information where it has to navigate, right? So to achieve those kinds of functionalities, and also if you see, let me go here. And there's this one, I don't see it. Let's see the draft that I don't. So with intent-based navigation, but I on the web IDE on the deployment it is missing. It might be doing something, but effectively this is how it behaves with intent-based navigation. And let us take another example on two country. In the two country, we just go ahead and implement the two country. Yeah, with URL. In the with URL, we will be having option to navigate from our application to the external URLs. So even that is possible for us. Okay. Okay. So I think this is because we don't have a style in our catalog. What I sense from here. So let me create a target mapping from here. So semantic object and action is developed. It's the action. Now we need to find out catalog that particular application is in. Go ahead. Developers. And the application that we have chosen is what was that? CDSU custom reusable element. Okay. So custom reusable element. This is the tile we have chosen, and let me go into this catalog. And in this catalog, we have the target mapping for custom reusable elements and developed. And if you look at this figure, okay, so same way we will be having this and catalog. Okay. This transactional application. We see the reference. Yeah. This the application read only and cannot be changed. Okay. and one custom reusable. Come on. Create reference. TH Tara application catalog. So this one, I just created a reference to our catalog. Now let's go into Tara applications, and if you see custom reusable element developed has been added into our catalog. So let me refresh the launchpad now, and we are able to see that option. Not yet. Sometimes the rebuilding of the role is also required. Not stuff, anything anywhere going on. Okay, let me refresh the launchpad again. This is right. So this is the application. Nope, still not showing us the hyperlink for some other reason as well. How we implement URLs onto the field names as a hyperlink, and that is going to be with using with intent-based navigation. We need to ensure the target mapping exists in catalog. That's what we did again. We have created the reference from source, the actual catalog, into our technical catalog, so that it will be identifying the launchpad shell, so that whenever there is a navigation happening from one application to another application, this semantic object action file will be accessed and will be. And also we have this with URL again, and that URL is going to be the static URL, or it can be built dynamically as well. Find item, we go ahead, put on here. So see here with URL, and in this URL we will be having URL, and in this URL we are going to give a field name that exists in this particular projection itself. URL, let me say the thing. So it says there is no link, but you are giving me link. And link not found. But here I'm going to create that Google link. Copy this URL as it is. Paste this one. Oh, sorry. This is metadata, right? So we won't be able to write anything on the metadata, the column projection or casting or anything. And this has to come from consumption view. If we are annotating, go to the consumption view, add this URL field, write this as the link. Now let me activate this one. It's being activated, and refresh this one. Don't see student that error right now. Yeah, gone. If I activate this one, and this also helps if we are at vendor or some supplier have their websites, etc. So the field itself will be highlighted with the underlying URL, so that user can directly go ahead and click on that one, whereas it takes the user respective website web address. So usually we will be having the parameters as well. I don't see this, but Google link of CDS with not read only. Yes, so I have to make that read only. That one. The URLs in, as we know that they shouldn't be left as is, and we know the annotation what we need to use to make particular field read only, and this is read only, and sorry. Yeah, I don't make anything. Go ahead. Yeah, activated. Refresh this. Again, we have something. Virtual has no calculation. Draft key. Survey one. We are on view. On Yeah, draft entity. Okay, asking me to put the virtual element. So this is can let's try with this one. No, so I'll just because another concept is open fuzzy virtual element. And we have seen custom abstracted things like that, but we haven't seen the virtual. I will cover that part of virtual element. The virtual element is the only left for us. Oh, this one. So basically, we will be getting this URL link from the database in real-time scenario as we are trying as a constant value CDSU itself. It's need to have that URL. It has to be because we are building graph on top of this one. Liking that URL constant CDSU. So that's fine. It could be, and this is how we with different kinds of navigations from to app or clicking action button. Is context dependent and context independent. They are called static actions, and also with the based navigation. If we want to use that one, it could be a column on table, and we are using for based navigation going to be the lower bottom as well. And okay, just going out of something. Yeah, fine. Me go back. So it's trip planner. Yeah, that's fine. And instance. And on last, so in the recordings, so how it association data. Associations data, which data will be read in the same format that have performed in our class. And here, association and the association with waiting for that. So getting this or applying this subject, I think what. And another important one that we have is, let me go into the application. Please go inside. Okay, so if I'm trying to create a new trip request, so in this case, my country, okay, and as it was taking some time because we have validation created our object. If you see, we have created a validation here, and in the validations, we have created a validation for duplicate check. So in duplicate check, we were seeing yesterday that the messages are not coming properly in this place. So this step was missing. Unfortunately, check whether the EVO has been filled up or not. So the EVO message instance, if the instance is not filled by the framework, we have an option to get the instance from this FRW factory, and so that we can report the message, whatever we content, and back to the UI. So now, because as soon as I enter my country code here, automatically gone ahead and validated. That's why it took some time, but that's fine. So here if we report the class based, right now we are using add message, and it is missing some what is the severity of the message and etc. So if you look at this add CM, you just try yourself implementing the class based here. It is directly going to highlight field. But if you see on this screen right now, our intention is to try to validate the mandatory fields. So in this case, some country is mandatory and two country is also mandatory. But if I click on create here, I think it's not going to stop us. Straight away goes ahead and okay, there is some entry already exists, it seems. The exception raised without error from country. Go back. I have any already. to country. Yeah, there is an entry already exists through to country. That's where it's going ahead. Giving that certificate message. Okay, so this time let me go ahead and remove my from country and give my to country here. It is validating, and there is no message reported at the moment. There is no date. From country is blank, and let me go ahead and create this one. So if I create this one, object was created, but we are representing that from country mandatory, and we cannot create. So we cannot create without from. If you see here, we made the from country mandatory, right? So in this case, we can't even apply the filter based on our from country. So in this case, we have some SAP delivered pre-delivered classes to use and validate validate the mandatory checks. So those classes, we don't need to remember them. So like I said, in our business object, whatever the kind of class that is going to create, have V if it is a validation class, and it's going to have a D if it is a determination class, and also it is going to have A if it is an action, and if it is an authorization class, AU of the class. And the starting how the classes start, I'll give you how those classes will start now. So it's going to say 24 classes start with LIB. So up there, it's a so as we have seen, helper classes and underscore. Right now, what we are trying to do, we are trying to validate mandatory fields. So it's a validation. So let's go to V state underscore. So if you see in this case, we see a lot of classes in this. So we will be picking or whatever is relevant for us. So in this case, you see here we have mandatory attributes and mandatory nodes. These two are the classes having the word mandatory. So in our case, we are going to check the mandatory attributes right now. So let me copy this class and how we are going to do. So we will be just creating a new validation, and we will name it mandatory checks. And so we know how to use the existing class. In this existing implementing class, we will be using the standard class. So let's finish this one. Yes, I want to use the existing class and just activate this one. Okay, so it is getting activated right now. Okay, perfect. It is activated, and let me back and come back to the application. And now let me try to create an entry. So it has gone here. The mandatory field from country must be here. Automatically, whenever we come into the application itself, as so by this, we need not perform a mandatory check. Okay. And also, if you could observe while picking up these classes, you might have seen the foreign key checks and etc. Okay, so in this class, is this foreign key check. Yeah, foreign key check. So if we build anything on our CDS view, saying, okay, this is what my foreign key. If we create an association and if we specify that foreign key association, then you implement this one automatically going to validate the for us. So we don't need to take code, building lots of code in the validation classes. Okay, and also we have this mandatory node. These mandatory nodes, how they are going to affect. Let me tell you with an example. Let me create the validation, and these all validations, please be mindful that we are creating on header. Okay, check mandatory nodes. At least one trip item is required or mandatory. Let me put this one. That is going to be my mandatory node check. And let me activate this one. So it's getting activated. Yes, it is activated. And in this case, let me input my country key here and also the to country. So if you see, automatically it turns into the meaningful, the error highlight will be removed. And if I try to create now, if you see at least one, you can't say the draft is not consistent, add at least one. So that means, so here, at least one trip item is mandatory. You're saying, okay, so without having one item, you won't be able to proceed. So at least one item is mandatory at this point. So from where that is being derived or determined is absolutely from our associations here. So in the associations, if you see 1 to n, so we are saying minimum 1 is required. So, and again, how these associations are created. If you look at our transactional view here, which is the header, and the association that we created is with the 1 to star association. So the same has been reflected onto our business object, and from that is where this validation is being added onto our application. So these classes are very much important, and so that we can minimize our development efforts when we work on the validation. And this is required to be implemented on the subnodes as well. If you, it doesn't mean that it is validating all the subnodes mandatory fields. This is node specific. So if you see in this case, we have implemented our validation on our header node, but not on the item node here. So if you want this to be applicable on your item node, you need to go into your items node, and on the items validations, again, we need to add this mandatory foreign key checks and etc. So they all need to be added at the each node of this object hierarchy. Okay, so this is and we can easily decrease our development, and we can proceed to implement developing the faster applications as well. And also, if you see the determinations, again, it's determination classes. So there are, I think, no much determinations we can use. Whatever the determinations are required for adding the default system information and etc. So they all have been already implemented, added as part of our business object generation itself. Okay. Now, ABAP programming model for Fiori with the transactional behavior, and this is what the transactional behavior. So it doesn't mean you always need to look at the wrap point of view. As recommended by this is also the safe investment for the customer to implement applications in such a manner. So we don't need to worry. Okay, there is a wrap available, and we need to be on technology and etc. So this one itself having a lot of functionalities. So even we have not seen each and every annotation that's available on this particular UI level or consumption or object model and etc. So now we have the base that okay, so this is achievable up to this, and now we our knowledge or our time-based learning that whenever we get some requirement, okay, so I know this is possible, but I need to find a way, and we have the enough knowledge base on SAP help and etc. So from there, we will be starting to develop our transactional or reporting, analytical, whatever applications. That's how we move forward. So okay, yes. Correct, correct, correct. Yes, that's correct. Transactional and consumption, yes. No, no. Both places it has to be defined. So if you define a transactional layer level, it's going to build your associations on your business object. Whatever you do, object model annotations on your transactional view, remember that are going to influence your business object. Okay, and whatever you are going to do on your consumption layer, that is going to influence your UI or whatever the consumer is going to be. So these annotations are going to be used to influence the consumer, not the business object. So the transaction layer is the lower layer. There we need to build it for generating the business object, and here we need it for UI. The top layers are consumers. Okay, and if you see the difference of these annotations, and here we are saying it's just a delegation, not the transactional behavior. It is delegating the job to the underlying transactional view. And in the transactional view, if you see, it is enabled. It's not delegated, enabled. So here, the actual business object will be generated. And if you see this icon right next left to this particular transaction enabled, and then from this is where you will get the business object link. And even I think we saw that already. If you try to search with this one, you will see a business object as well along with your CDS data definition and entity. The business object you see here. So like how we see the authorization access control. So if there is an access control, you might be seeing more along with this access control CDS view as well. Okay. What actions that we created at object model level? Yeah, they all custom action. They are all custom actions, right? So they all have been listed down here itself at the object model level, business object level. Yes. No. The series view level, we just tell at what place this action needs to be. That we have done at metadata extension itself, the very top level. Okay, it is not necessary to have on the consumption view or the business object transaction view level. We don't need to have them at that place. So it will be a pure UI enablement. So right now the backend is that object is backend. Backend we have these actions. How we are influencing or triggering this action from the UI. That's what we did in our data. Correct. Yes. 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 Yeah. Okay. So on this one, actually, we have a topic left on this uh, transactional apps or not the transactional apps. ABAP programming model for Fiori, the extensions. So how we extend the applications. So if we have a standard or SAP delivered application available customer space, and but we want to add some enhancements or we want to add some additional fields and etc. How we will be doing those extensions to the application. So for that we have a limitation on this web ID. So we will be we will be taking deviation from here. So those who are really wanted to have this free access of having the launchpad customization and learn more about enabling the application and etc. We have the system available, and now we are going to enter into our BTP to look at the business application functionality. So how we will be generating the application using Business Application Studio, and how we deploy. We will not be able to deploy onto our system, but instead we are going to use the work zone service. So work zone is the latest name of the launchpad, which is on the BTP. So we will be looking at that work zone, and we will be deploying the developed applications onto the work zone itself. So as we have already created our BTP BTP accounts, so we can continue using those BTP accounts.